Shemai, Sidachi, Croeso, Chris, Dowie, what is cracking, ladies, gents, boys, girls, anyone who is anyone. Today we are talking about fighting fantasies, The Gates of Death, written by Charlie Higson, and spoiler alert, this book is actually, it's pretty good. Now, we've got the usual stuff. This book was published specifically for the Scholastic series, and it has 470 references, so this boy is a bit thick, it's thick with two C's, but it's all thick with goodness. It's some good stuff, you know. And judging from last week's book, you know, The Ports of Peril, my expectations were pretty low, but this is actually pretty good. Think zombie apocalypse, but with demons. That's really what you get. It's actually pretty good. So let's go through the formalities. Let's look at the cover, and the cover as well. It's shiny and silver. There's a dude. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if it's a guy. It could be a woman. I don't know who this character is. You know, see, I don't know what it is like. But the cover's pretty cool. It's simplistic and minimalistic, and per usual with the old Scholastic books, you don't get a lot. I have a feeling that there might have been a full art, judging purely by the back of the book. But on the front, yeah, it's just that minimalistic, shiny style. That looks good on your bookshelf, looks good in your bookcase, it looks good on your coffee table. You can't complain. It's pretty aesthetic. Obviously, per usual, you know, if it is a Wizard or Puffin release, the cover would be pretty cool. But you know, what can you do? What can you do? So we pick the bad boy up, we turn it around. What does it say on the back? And it says, part story, part game, you are the hero. Are you brave enough to face the all-powerful Queen of Chaos, growing ever more monstrous behind the gates of death? Okay, so the character on the front is probably the Queen of Chaos. A terrible plague has devastated Alanzia, striking its people down with a sickness that turns them into hideous demonic monsters. You must travel to the invisible city with a smoke oil antidote, but the way is full of peril and predators at every turn. You can trust no one, for the demon curse may already be upon them. May your stamina never fail. That's a really good summary of the story, not gonna lie. It basically sums it up, you know. You go back to Alanzia, and this one does actually rely not so heavily. It does. There's a lot of throwbacks to previous books, but it's more so the City of Thieves. You know, you got Nicodemus, the wizard. I think that's his name, the wizard from City of Thieves, and it's just sort of a throwback. He gives you a cloak that turns you into, I think it's meant to be like the shape changer from the cover of Forest of Doom. That guy. That was a nice little Easter egg, but it's sort of like, it makes references to the older books, but it can stand up by itself as its own book. It doesn't rely too heavily. It doesn't base its personality on the older books, and that's really nice to actually see when I've just come from the Port of Peril, which is basically it just devotes its existence to throwbacks. So this book is actually really, really good, and like I said, you know, basically it's sort of like a zombie apocalypse scenario where you have the cure and you're just trying to get the cure, and yeah, like that's just awesome. And I remember at the start, you know, there's a big the start is the writing is pretty good actually as well. There's an encounter towards the start where you encounter a band of thieves, and you have like a thick as thieves portion, I believe. You throw it at them, or you chop the bottle and it wafts up. Can't remember exactly. But this group of bandits, they become under the influence and they start fighting, and not long after that, it states that they're all just on the floor dead, and it's like, oh, alright, cool. But it's nice to see some, not necessarily more mature writing, but serious writing, I think. That would be the best word, you know, because I think in Port of Peril, it's sort of deviated, it's sort of tiptoed around, it's like teehee, so can't be. But in this one, it's like, yeah, they're just dead, my guy. And it's awesome. But yeah, the demons, what about them? They are sort of like, they don't come from dead people. The person actually transforms into the demon themselves, like a demonic monster. What do they call them in the back? Hideous demonic monsters. They're just called demons throughout the book, not monsters. But they turn into it. It's like a werewolf kind of thing, like a zombie thing. I don't know why I said werewolf. It's more like a zombie thing where they actively turn into one in front of you. But there's so many great encounters that could have been done really well in a zombie apocalypse book. For instance, not to spoil anything, but there's one guy and his daughter's a zombie. Well, not a zombie, but a demon. But it gives you some interesting little decisions to make. And apologies for the noise if you can hear it. The dogs had a little bit of an argument. But yeah, it's just awesome. The characters are quite good. They're quite interesting. It's sort of like, I always say Bloodborne vibes because I sort of get them vibes from like any sort of Final Fantasy book that's remotely serious. But it sort of is. There's a carriage, there's a Lady Webb or something. I can't remember her name again. Annoying, I know. But there's an instance where, oh man, I'm not going to spoil it. It is good though. It is good. And like I said, you go to Alanzia from another place. So you're not even from Alanzia. You just go in there to solve, you know, to save the day. And it's just, oof, something else. It's next level. It is next level. This is like honestly pretty good. So to be a bit more critical with the review, so the setting itself, the setting is pretty good. It's in Alanzia. There's, you know, references to Port Blacksand. I think you are in Port Blacksand because the mage Nicodemus, I believe that is his name. That's how I've always said his name. He sort of spurs you on, and yeah, you know, you just go through Alanzia, and it's just, oof, it's good. The setting is good. The setting in this book is good. It makes sense. It doesn't rely too heavily on your knowledge of past books. You can read this as a standalone and feel at home. The characters are pretty good. There's that sense of despair. There's a lot of it, kind of thing, as you'll find in like zombie apocalypse kind of films. I don't really read zombie literature, but in zombie apocalypse films, you sort of look at the characters, you go, oh, you're gonna die, my guy. And that's sort of what happens in this book. You know, you sort of talk to a character, you get really into them, you like them, and then boom, they've been zombified. Yeah, oh, it's just good. The characters are solid. The characters are good. They're likable. So yeah, and then we go on to the art style. The art style for the Scholastic books, they're not very good. But I'm guessing it's because it's easier and probably cheaper to just get these guys doing digital arts. This book would honestly be phenomenal with the old hand-drawn art style. Oh man, it's a shame that they skimped out on it. But you know, it is what it is. It is 2020, whatever. This book, I think, was in the late 2010s. I think it's like 2017, 2018. So, you know, it is what it is. It's a product of the time. The art style's lacking, but the art style does actually look kind of creepy when it comes down to the demons themselves. They do look quite creepy. This isn't like the Scholastic, no, not the Scholastic, this is a Scholastic book. This isn't like the Port of Peril where they sort of like wimped around the good stuff and they're like, oh, look at this friendly gnome. What's also describing then like skulls perched upon like a wall or something silly like that. It doesn't take you for a mug. And that's what I liked about this book. It is a serious adventure in a more friendly sort of way. It looks friendlier, but it's actually quite serious. It's sort of like House of Hell kind of seriousness, and that's, oh, it's just good. Like the difficulty did seem a little bit easy, but like I said, you know, I tend to just cheat through battles. I'm in it for the story. The difficulty doesn't really bother me. If you want something difficult, you know, maybe this book isn't going to be for you. But it is a good book, you know, it is a good book, and all in all, you got a fantastic set, and you got a fantastic roster of characters, and the difficulty, it's alright. The artwork, it does its job. You know, it is a solid fighting fantasy book, and I didn't expect that. I did not expect that after reading Port Peril. I just assumed the worst, and thankfully, happily, I was proved wrong. So would I recommend this book? And that's a resounding yes. You know, the book is actually really good. I haven't reviewed it on Goodreads yet because I read it and I was just really tired. But yeah, the book is actually really good. Would I recommend it? 100% yeah. If you can get it secondhand, get it secondhand. It is on Amazon and you can purchase it for a regular retail price. If you don't like Amazon, it's gonna be elsewhere. You're gonna find it online quite easily. So yeah. The book is awesome. The book's really good. Charlie Higson is actually a pretty good author, which you know, I didn't doubt the guy, but I haven't read any of his work before. Really good author, really good book. Without a doubt, it's worth a purchase, worth a read. So yeah, boys and girls, ladies, gents, anyone who is anyone, that's about it for the video. If you're going to be here next Thursday, what are we reading? I want to say Assassins of Alanzia, because that is the book that's at the top of my pile next. So yeah, next Thursday we're reading that bad boy. It's all about ninjas, it's all about assassins by the looks of the cover. It looks pretty good. So without further ado, take care guys. Hopefully we're going to see you next week, but if not, take care and goodbye.